So far this board is amazing and holding up. What's up everyone, welcome back. So today I'm going to teach you how to do Smith grinds on a ledge. I find them a little bit harder than on a rail, and then I'm going to try to learn Smith 180 and Smith front shove out. On a rail it just kind of like locks in a little bit easier, where on the ledge you just got to go fast and angle it. So on the rail you just kind of sit on top of it and it locks in a little bit easier than a ledge. You can see it just kind of glides. You lock that back wheel in like that. But we're gonna do it on the ledge. Even the Smith 180 and shove out of the rail, it just kind of guides off of it, where the ledge, I think you have to force it off. Oh my lord, there's like these kids in the background just screaming for no reason. So when you're doing it on the ledge, you want to be able to do 50s, and what you're gonna do is like, it's like a 5-0, but not really. You're leaning back, and you're landing like an angled 50, kind of leaning back. Everyone thinks you put your weight on the tail, which is true, but it's more like you're leaning back, but not like this, and so it shoots out. You're just kind of like landing in there, and like you're like angled back, and you're just pitched. I find the best way to describe it is you're kind of like on that Smith grind, and your body weight is like you're kind of leaning back. Just how you see it, you're kind of like that. You're like angled back in that direction, leaning. All your weight on that back leg, but you're not like lifting up. You're like pointed down, and that front leg does nothing. When you pop up, you're gonna aim for that back truck getting in. You're not gonna wanna stop it. You're gonna just kind of guide it in, just kind of like finesse it in, and you're gonna be leaning back that way, that direction, and it's just gonna glide. So we're gonna try a few Smiths, maybe like 5 or 10 of them, so you can kind of see the motion. I find seeing visually how it's done and then just trying it with that like lean back, but not like, you know, lifting up that front leg to do a 5-0. One of the harder tricks to learn, but once you get them, they just make sense, and you can do them all the time. So let's do a couple Smith grinds, feel it out, and then if it feels really good, we're gonna try the front 180 and the front shove. Alright, so as you can see, you're kind of approaching at an angle, and you're gonna pop and land like that, leaning back this way, and like tilting forward like that. So let's just do a few more, and it helps if the ledge is pretty waxed so your wheel's not sticking on it. Last attempt, as you can see, I didn't lean far back in that angle, so to get out, what you're gonna do is tilt it, and then you're just gonna kind of lean back a bit, bring it up to get off the ledge. Sometimes you can kind of just force it with that back leg, but it's just trial and error until you get it. And the last one, I didn't get enough speed to get to the end, but you can also, if you're leaning far back enough, popping that tail a bit and getting off mid-grind. So there's different ways of doing this trick. It's just a matter of doing it and seeing what feels more comfortable for yourself. So once you get them dialed in, they're pretty easy and simple. And keep in mind, you're not like alling up and landing in it, you're kind of shooting the board forward into it. You're like going and you're shooting the board in front of you and leaning back. As you can see in some of the clips, I'll slow it down how I kind of shoot it in front of me, and I'm just like leaning back in that motion. That helps it slide, and you can have it super dipped. I recommend just kind of starting off where it just feels comfortable, just a little dipped, and then working your way, because once it's like super dipped, it's so hard to bring it up. Like I said, that back foot, you're just kind of pushing it off or lifting up and popping. And I find the foot placement to be exactly like how you would do an ollie 50. You're just shifting it forward in front of you and just angling it and leaning back. Exactly how it looks. You're just kind of like angled back. So just like any other skateboard trick you learn, repetition is key. The more you do it, the easier it gets. Getting tired, but yeah, you can see that some of the most common problems is not going fast enough, not putting enough weight on that back leg, not leaning in that direction that you need to lean, and if the ledge is really sticky, you're not gonna slide. So you gotta add a little bit of wax and just go fast and just hop into it and push that board forward If you're not pushing that board in front of you, also what's gonna happen is you're just gonna stick, or the board's just gonna drop and you're not gonna be able to grind out. Like I said, you're just popping that board in front of you and kind of like leaning back so it just pushes it through. We'll do one more really good Smith grind and then we're gonna try the Smith 180 and Smith shove it, hopefully. So a couple other problems you might run into is you're not getting up high enough, or you're landing on that side of the truck there, and you actually want to get that landing perfectly like that. And also, if you can't shoot it forward and land like that, another common problem is you might land on the 50 and then shoot it out because you're leaning too far back. Or when you get up, you might overthrow it and get into like a lip slide and lip slide. And I also find if it's not waxing up on that side, your wheel's gonna stick. So you want it to be nice and greased so that wheel can just glide. I find the hardest part of this trick is getting enough speed, popping and putting the board forward in front of you, and that lean back in an angle motion. It's not like you're getting onto it like a 50-50, you're shooting it in front of you and leaning back. Very uncomfortable and scary at first, but once you get it dialed in, like they feel really good. And the hardest part about that trick too is when you do long ones, holding it in that motion rather than a quick short one. And if you go fast enough, you'll just ride off. But like I said, you want to lean back a bit right when you're about to come off so it like lifts up and balances out. Or you use that back foot to push it off the ledge, like just force it off and land it. Or if you're even better, get into it and pop and ollie out. Also just practice going onto the ledge really slowly in an angle, popping up into the Smith and popping off. And then once you get more comfortable with that, then you can try it on the ledge going fast. If you can do it on a ledge, you can do it on a rail. It's super simple and easy on a rail. It just locks in perfectly. So with the rail, it's the same concept. You're popping in an angle, pushing it forward, making sure to aim for that back truck on the rail like so. Lock in, hold it, and then right when you're at the end, kind of pop up a bit, but you can also just kind of push it forward. And the Smith 180 and shove on the rail is so easy because it kind of just glides out, so you can just kind of like push it out. But on a ledge, you actually have to like pop it out or kind of, you know, ollie out into it. So like I said, if you can Smith on a ledge, you can Smith on a rail. The rail is actually easier because when you're popping onto it, you're just angling that right there to land, and you're just kind of locked into place. And to land out, you just get enough speed and it'll just come out like so. And to land just like the ledge, you're using your back foot to force it out. So the Smith 180, you're just landing in it, and what you're gonna do is right near the end, you're gonna turn your shoulders to do a 180. So you're gonna turn your shoulders and that back foot, all you're gonna do is just push it forward in the direction, and it's just gonna do the 180. For the Smith front shove, you're just landing in the Smith, going straight, keeping your shoulders straight, not turning, and all you're gonna do is with that back foot, is you're just gonna give it a little bit of a push, and it will slide out and land that front shove. So like I said, learning the Smith is the key to all the rest of the tricks. Once you have a good solid Smith grind, you can do the others. Like I said, you just get in that Smith, turn your shoulders, push that back foot forward, and you can just do a 180 out. Almost similar to 50-50 180. You're not really popping, you're just kind of pushing it off. And same with the front shove, you're not turning, you're just pushing back with that back foot to push out to do that front shove. Similar to like a board slide front shove, but you're in Smith. Now the hard one is to do the Smith 180 and Smith shove on the ledge. In theory, if you can do it on the rail, you can do it on the ledge. If you can do it on the ledge, you can do it on the rail. But the ledge, you're gonna keep getting into, and you're gonna wanna lean back a bit, turn your shoulders, and kind of pop that tail instead of just pushing it out off the rail. The rail you can just push off and spin. The ledge you need to kind of add a little bit of a pop to it, just to lift up a bit, just to get that 180 or that front shove. So I find the key to that on the ledge is really leaning back, not dipping the foot, like the foot and the front forward a lot. You're just kind of mellow with it and then popping it. Hope this all helps you, but I'm gonna try a couple Smith 180s and Smith shoves on the ledge. Here's hoping we can get them. Cursed SD card error. Landed the Smith 180, so we're gonna have to redo it. So we got the Smith 180. As you can see, you got to lean really back and then kind of pop it off in an angle to get that 180. And then the Smith shove, you got to really lean back and then like push it out. So we'll watch a couple of replays of that Smith 180. But as you can see, you're like leaning back and you're kind of popping up a little bit to help it go. And then same with the Smith shove it. You're just really leaning back and you're pushing out with that back foot, popping it a bit so it kind of pops out. Lean back in an angle and jump this way off the ledge to land on